welcome to another Huddle Breakdown Extra Time. I'm your host Martin Murphy and joined as ever by James and by Alan. How are you guys?
Hi,
Good.
all right. It's spring-like here in Sheffield today. It's been a lovely day. Been out for a nice walk. It's all good.
Excellent. And you, James?
Not quite spring-like, but spring adjacent. So I got out for my 10-mile morning ride this morning, which is pushing the bounds in my fat state. So I'm a little tired.
Excellent. Did you manage to finish cutting the wood and picking up the poo and all the rest of it?
Well, the poo job is done for now. Wood cutting, I got the stereotypical wife dirty look. Like, when the hell are you going to get this done, you jerk off? You've been saying you're going to do this for how long? So I got that talking to. I got dressed down, so that'll be next week. I got to ramp it up.
She'll build you up again, though, in true management style. It sounds a very Brian Clough approach that she's employed there. You know, I'm sure you'll produce great efforts with that. And Alan, look, I have to ask you about that background there. There's an incredible array of Subbuteo teams there in the background. What's the story, my friend?
Yeah, well, as with James, that's another topic of marital stress. yeah. Well, we're getting to the stage where the kids are getting a bit older, so I've reclaimed the sort of the smallest room in the house, the kind of the sort of the smallest bedroom kind of thing. So got a nice container for most of the collection, and not all of it. There's still quite a bit of it in other bits and pieces. So I'm back now. I'm back in this room. Over the weeks, you'll start to see it take shape. Hopefully, in terms of getting the posters up, and I've got to get my Kenny Dalglish one up, and my Lisbon Lions one up, and all that sort of thing. So
but
yeah, it's a bit of a. When I was a kid, I played Subbuteo, loved it, and I always wanted to have a lot of teams. So now I've got a lot of teams, like a lot.
You really have.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask James, did you have Subbuteo as a kid? Did it not make its way over the Atlantic?
We didn't even have soccer on TV when I was growing up. I mean, for God's sakes.
Wasn't sure if a kindly relative in Clydebank had maybe sent it over to you and tried to get you to explore it.
The extent of that was I had some pennants, Danny McGrain pennant over my bed growing up. But yeah, outside of that,
hero Danny McGrain, yeah.
Yeah, in Redneckville, where I grew up in the central Pennsylvania, youth soccer had spread. So I grew up playing soccer, much to everyone's chagrin, I'm sure. I had one of my good friends as a child. His dad was off the boat Italian, so he was the coach. So an actual Italian dude, not like second or third generation Italian. He spoke with an accent and everything. Great
Excellent.
Guy.
Did he gesture a lot at you?
He did talk with his hands a lot.
Good.
Classic, stereotypical. Yep. But yeah, no. It wasn't until, you're talking about late 90s even, until TV, started to have some decent amount of European football on TV. So if unless you were a rich person with the fancy satellite.
That wasn't me either. No.
Yeah, we didn't have that back in the 80s.
Well, I do remember I was living there in 97, 98, when we stopped the 10, and that game was on one of the mainstream channels.
Really?
Like that match. When I remember going to somebody's house who had all these cable channels, because we were living in like an apartment and just had like basic TV and stuff. And actually, one of my work colleagues actually had a TV, had all the stations, and I went round to his house to watch that game. That was the only game that I saw that season, sort of thing. But I remember that being on. That was the late 90s, obviously.
Yeah, wow. And
just actually, there was one of our colleagues that it was just so. Yeah, that would have been so. The Premier League would have been in full flow then, and there was a lady at our work who was football mentor, and every Monday night, the Monday night game on Sky, she would have that on. So it must have been gettable in the late 90s for sure.
Yeah, so just a final thing on the Subbuteo, because I was very much an enthusiast as well, you simply flick to kick and all that. So did you get most of these teams as an adult, or were you just a very wealthy child, Alan?
No, I actually had a really good collection. I had about 61 teams when I was a kid, and then they basically sat in the loft for like 40 years until
Yeah.
COVID. And as happened with a lot of people, you kind of once the kids got bored with the computer games and the Xbox and all that sort of stuff, I got it down and just sort of realised how beautiful it was and how much I loved it and wanted to get back into it. And then
Yeah.
didn't even know that there was all this kind of collecting and stuff, eBay and all that sort of thing. How much and the fact what I didn't know as well was that there's still companies that make, because Speedo's not, the license is still extant, but nobody actually does anything with it. So there's no new Subito really been made with a proper Subito since about early 2000s. But there are people that make Subito like figures, which means there's a whole world of
Mhm.
collecting that you can do outside of even traditional Subito. So hence the size of the collection and the different kinds of boxes.
There's nothing quite like the bitterness caused by a Subbuteo player getting crushed by one of your friends' knees, as they go, oh man, I still remember the amount of glue and all that trying to get the players back, and they were never the same, really, a bit like Ian Durant, really, I suppose, with that sort, never quite the same or quite functional and all the rest of it there. But I think that needs to be a full programme at some point.
Absolutely.
Just one thing, because you are an enthusiast, and I bet you know this. Do you know where the name comes from, Subbuteo?
I do. It's. I
knew you would. Would you like to share it with our listeners?
Well, it's an Italian name for a falcon, which is called the hobby.
That's from Latin. That's right.
Yeah,
that's
they
right.
wanted to
No,
call
it was hobby. Yeah.
So, yeah, and they found that for copyright reasons they couldn't, so they used the term Subbuteo, which is a Latin name for a falcon that essentially called a hobby.
You would know that, James. Absolutely. Knew you wouldn't let me down.
Peter Adolf,
the guy that invented it was an
Tunbridge
ornithologist
Wells,
as well. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Tunbridge Wells, I think he's from Kent. Yeah. But anyway, let's get on to the footy. So we've got a brilliant interview coming up with the guys and Liam Bryce from the Hibs Observer. Really well worth a listen, well worth a watch. And then we'll start looking into the upcoming Scottish Cup tie against Hibs.
I'll tell you, a repeat visitor here with Liam Bryce, second time in a short period of time. Gavin from Aberdeen's the only other person that we've had back, and like a rebound. I don't know. It's like a bad breakup here or something, Liam, coming back this quick. But welcome from the Hibs Observer. This is the first time you've been subjected to have to deal with me. Had a great hour conversation with Al.
We hope you enjoyed this free preview from all of us here at the Huddle Breakdown. We know you have options and we really appreciate you tuning in. To hear the rest of this episode and for much more Huddle Breakdown content, head on over to www.huddlebreakdown.com. We hope you consider subscribing. Thank you.